All right, so here's the story as I understand it. Wong Kar-wai is making this big epic film, which I haven't seen, called Ashes of Time. He's apparently having all kinds of trouble. It's a huge epic. He's been editing it for so long. It's been going on for so long. He can't see it. So he has the idea, I got to step away from this thing. Let me go make this other movie, Chungking Express, and I'll come back to this. So he makes this film, Chungking Express. He's shooting it. He's having fun. It's moving fast. They shot it fast, apparently, edited it fast, and it turned out the way it did. And then he went back to Ashes of Time with a fresh mentality, a fresh, energy, and finished it. I haven't seen it yet. This is my first Wong Kar-wai experience, and I'm really fucking excited about it because I love this movie, Chungking Express. Now, there's so many things to say about it, especially as someone who's stepping into this Hong Kong cinema world. Maybe not. This is not the first, movie from Hong Kong that I've seen, but I'm new to Wong Kar-wai. So, if you have any films you suggest, maybe Fallen Angels after this, because I think they're sort of similar in terms of story, right? But for this one, there's so many things to say about it, and I actually had to stop it halfway through because I thought, wait a minute. My first impression was, I'm enjoying this. I like it. I think it's great. It feels very 90s to me, and I think it's moving faster than I'm able to comprehend. So let's pump the brakes on this thing, and let me come back to it. So I thought about it for a while, and I came back to it, and when I finished it, I still didn't really, I know I liked it, but I still didn't really understand what I saw, other than like the basic idea of the stories, the two stories that converge, right? And the more I thought about it, and the more I kind of watched other people talk about it, which isn't something that I necessarily normally do, but sometimes watching other people talk about it, it's really interesting to hear. And I got all different kinds of perspectives on this film. And in a weird way, doing that, it gives me helps me shape my own view of it. Now, I didn't go back and watch this, but I definitely will, because I think I'm going to enjoy it the more times I see it, because there are all these little beautiful shots that happen. It feels like there's a movement in terms of the lighting a little bit, like it moves in a different direction as we go through the film, which is super fascinating to me. The idea that the way that it looks, the cinematography. I think Christopher Doyle was a cinematographer on this. Interesting guy, by the way. Strange, but interesting. Beautifully shot. And so when I did all that, I sort of thought about it, and it sort of hit me, how I feel about this movie at the current time. I think it's going to get better and better each time I see it, but I wanted to throw this out here now so that I could capture this moment, and maybe there'll be something here that I'll, in the future, sort of look back and go, yeah, that, or, oh, that wasn't quite right. But I think there's a moment here that I got to get off my chest, because I think there's some interesting things happening. Now, if you don't know the characters, a lot of filmmakers, some of the characters in this film appear in other Wong Kar-wai films, of course. But it's two stories, right? You have the first story of the young detective who's heartbroken. We never see the woman that he's involved with who broke his heart. We don't see her, right? And I think it's important to make that distinction, because we do see the second part of the story. We do see the heartbreak and the people involved in the second part of the story, which is still a young cop, but it's a cop, not a detective. A little bit older, right? So those are the two stories, essentially. The young detective who's heartbroken, and then the young cop who's on the beat, who's also heartbroken, but we see more of his story. Now, the thing that sort of connects them, there are two things, I think. I mean, there's probably many things, but in terms of like actual things we see, there's the Chungking Express, which is a takeout joint, and both the characters in each part of the story interact with the owner. They go there, the owner helps keep their morale up. He's a really interesting, funny character, encouraging them not to give up, to keep going, because we're talking about love here, right? Love from two different perspectives, at least two different perspectives. Three if you count Fei Wong, right? So there's a couple. But the moment that it changes, and this is where I stopped it, because I thought, wait a minute, what happened to the first guy? Well, he once he does his bit for the first half, he's done. And then we see the second story, because they kind of converge in the middle, right? With Faye Wong's character, who's super important because she exists in both stories. First story, young detective. He's heartbroken about the woman on the phone that we never see. I think her name's Mai, however they would say it. And he attaches himself to this, I think her name's Bridget Lin. Is that her name? Like Greta Garbo of Hong Kong, maybe, in the wig and the glasses. She's sneaky. She's killing people. She's mischievous, is involved in her life. Mischievousness. Is that how you'd say it? All right, so that's happening. And when he goes to Chungking Express to talk to the owner, and the owner is telling him, yeah, don't give up. You should move on. Don't call this girl. You should date this girl, who's Faye Wong's character, who's working at Chungking Express. He's not interested for whatever reason. She doesn't seem interested either. But there's a moment in the middle of the movie where they come close to each other physically, the young detective and Faye Wong. And he kind of looks down and she kind of looks up, and it's like almost like a really interesting shift, because here we are at this point in time where things are about to change, right? This is the last time we're going to see the young detective, and this is where Faye Wong and the other cop's story come in. And I think the young detective says something like, "This is the closest I ever got to her. I'm not interested, blah, blah, blah." And it's 6 months later, she fell in love with this cop anyway. Boom, his story's done. Now, the new story, the second story, begins between the cop who now comes in, he's on the beat, comes into Chungking Express, gets advice from the owner. He's interested in Faye Wong, but he's still heartbroken, so you don't see it yet. At the end, those two, you like to think they get together. It's kind of implied. It's maybe, did they, didn't they? I think yes, but... So the point I'm trying to make is that you've got love from all these different perspectives, right? Faye Wong's character, and Faye Wong, by the way, quickly, I think at the time this movie came out, was like the biggest pop star in Hong Kong. And when you hear the Cranberries song, what's the name of that song? The song that's in the soundtrack, I can't think of it. She's singing that. When you hear the Mandarin version of it, that's her singing. So it's beautiful. I love it. I love that song anyway by the Cranberries. The soundtrack's great. But Faye Wong's character, she likes the cop. She's doing sneaky things just like the Greta Garbo character in the front, but she's not like that character. But she's similar in that both the young detective and the cop are kind of experiencing these women who are kind of sneaking, because Faye Wong's character is sneaking into his apartment, rearranging his things. Somehow he doesn't notice. I don't know how that happens. But she's not ready to love. That's her perspective. And she goes to California. California is a big thing in this. America's a big thing. I don't know much about Hong Kong, but I think in the mid-90s, something's happening politically and culturally where you get the impression that Wong Kar-wai is kind of saying, Hong Kong doesn't know really its own identity. And I'm telling you that through these characters who are also kind of depicting that thought. The loneliness. Maybe the loneliness has something to do with not just love, but also, are we China? Do we want to go the direction of America? Are we British? What are we? And there's a lot of shots where you see the characters behind like falling rain or like, garbage bags. And so for her, maybe she represents Hong Kong the most in a way by saying like, I'm not ready for any of this. I'm going to California. America's a big thing in here. You see a lot of McDonald's signs. California Dreamin' is a big thing. She goes to California. There's a bar called California where Faye Wong's character does not show up to meet Tony Leung's character, the cop, and he's depressed about it. And then he goes into a bar and he sees the stewardess he has a fling with. She's with another guy on a chopper, a Hong Kong chopper, which sounds like it would be a good sushi roll or something, or a dessert or something, or other things, interesting things. I'll let your mind wander on that one. The Hong Kong chopper. I need a t-shirt. Can anybody make a t-shirt out there? Hong Kong chopper. Anyway, and he's heartbroken again. But, things happen, and Faye Wong's character comes back, and you get this sort of you get the feeling that they come together, right? Sorry, I had to check my sound. And to me, that represented the cycle beginning again. The movie ends, right? But the cycle of love and loneliness and identity continue on. So, amazing movie. It had such a 90s feel to me with the way it was moving and the soundtrack. It felt very that time, which is weird and interesting that I would say that as an American who's never been to Hong Kong. I don't know much about the Hong Kong cinematic history, but that it would cross over or give me that feeling. I mean, I felt like I was watching an American director's 90s film in a way, in terms of the mood and the energy. Not the Hong Kong energy, which I hear is very different. It feels fast-paced to me because I'm not aware of it, but there's something about it, the way that it's shot, the moving images when the characters are moving through the streets, or just the pace of it, the sounds and everything. So I don't know. I love this movie. I thought it was great. I can't wait to watch it again because I'm going to pick up on more things, and particularly if you're going to watch this again or for the first time. Pay attention to the lighting at the end when Tony Leung's character, the cop, the second story, when he gets stood up by Fei Wong at one of the bars. The lighting on him is really beautiful. It's really interesting. He's got like these white pants and this sort of like faded blue and orange flannel top that's tucked in, but the lighting on his face is just fantastic. I don't know, Christopher Doyle, great job. So Wong Kar-wai, first Wong Kar-wai film. I can't wait to watch more. If you have any more suggestions, put them for his movies. Put them in the comments, and let me know what you thought of it. I'm still learning here. I love to talk about movies. If I got anything way off, let me know. What did you think of it? I want to hear from you. Let's have that discussion. That's the whole point of this. Wong Kar-wai, 2 thumbs up.